Welcome everybody to today's class. Again, we're doing advanced phrasal verbs and idioms. I'm just going to turn my screen off to make sure that that's not... Oh, and I'm going to put my microphone on, otherwise you won't be able to hear me properly. Now, again, we're doing advanced phrasal verbs and idioms. You've probably seen from the thumbnail that I'm showing my book, and this is because I try to sell this book at the start and at the end of every class. If you want a good book on phrasal verbs, I recommend my book. It's selling really well, and I'm really pleased about that. So please keep supporting me, keep buying my book, and I'll keep making these lessons, no doubt about it. Every time I sell another PDF from my website, which is skype-lessons.com, it cheers me up and it makes me think I'm going to make another YouTube video. So this book's got all of the phrasal verbs that I've come across, certainly 95% of them. It's a very big book. It's about 320 pages long, and that's the condensed version where it's been squashed together. This one's slightly thicker because this one wasn't squashed together. I squashed it together to make it cheaper. And you can buy this book on Amazon in black and white for £20, or you can buy the colour version with hyperlinks from my website. And if you buy it from my website, you get 3 extra ebooks for TV shows. So there's a good reason to buy it in a PDF form. You do get a lot extra for free. You get Mindhunter, Line of Duty, and House of Cards. You get exercises for those TV shows, which have loads of phrasal verbs in them as well, loads from this book. So please consider going to my website right now and buying that book. Now, the phrases today are all from Advanced Phrasal Verbs and Idioms, and that's chapters 38 and 39, and you can find this very easily by looking online. And so if you want exercises for this vocabulary, you get it from that book, Advanced Phrasal Verbs and Idioms. Unfortunately, that's not my book, but it's still a good book. Now, the first one, for all I care. You normally put this on the end of a sentence. You say something like, he can sack me for all I care. And that means he can sack me and I don't care. So you put this for all I care, or for all he cares, or for all they care, at the end of the sentence to say that they really don't care, or he really doesn't care, if that's the case, if that happens. Okay, so very, very common to see this at the end of the sentence. Something like, it could be anything. It could be, he can take money off my wages for all I care. And it means, I don't care if he wants to do that. Let him do that. I don't care. I'm not bothered. Okay? Now, the next one. That's all very well for somebody to say something. You normally say this when you're not impressed by a comment that somebody has made. And you show that you're not impressed about this comment by saying something like, that's all very well for my boss to say that, I don't know, we have to work an extra 2 hours every day, but I'm not very impressed by it. I'm not happy about this idea. Yeah, that's all very well for him to say, but I'm not happy about this idea. So this is quite common, and it's when you're not impressed with somebody's comment or somebody's remark, and that's why it's usually the verb to say here. It's all very well for him to say, but you could say to claim, to tell me. Any other verb of speaking will work here, and it's when you're not impressed with their comment, when you think that it's a bad comment, or that it doesn't matter to them, but it matters to me. And that's why I gave you the example of extra work. Yeah, it's all very well for our boss to talk about moving. The rest of us, it means an extra hour of work every day, something like that. Now, if you say by far, this is often used with superlatives and comparatives, but if you say this is the best film I've seen by far, it means it's really good, it's amazing, it's better than all the rest. And you can also say this is far and away the best film I've ever seen. Yeah, or you could say this is far and away the best book I've ever read or I've ever seen on phrasal verbs. And so you can just use this to make something even stronger, especially superlatives. If you say well and truly, this means kind of completely, and it's very informal. If you know, some of these are quite formal. I'd say that this one's neutral or formal, this one. But these two are quite informal, and this one's quite informal. And if you say something like, he is well and truly finished this project, it means I've completely finished it. It's finally done, and it's done and dusted. It's finished. It's well and truly finished. Yeah, and so completely. This just emphasizes that something has been done completely. Now, if something goes on for hours on end, it means it lasts ages and ages and ages. If it goes on for years on end, if it goes on for months on end, it just means that it takes a really long time, and you're emphasizing how long that took. Now, if you say that somebody disappeared just like that, it just means that somebody disappeared suddenly and without warning. But if you say he sacked me just like that, it means he did it suddenly and without warning. You didn't expect him to do that. He just sacked me just like that, as if it were nothing. So this is quite common, just like that, and it means suddenly and without warning. Now, if somebody offers you something or gives you something else into the bar, into the deal that you have with them. So, for example, well, I can give you an example with the Phrasal Verbs book. If you buy this Phrasal Verbs book on my website, you get 3 more ebooks into the bargain. And that means you get 3 more ebooks are included in the deal. And that's what how this is used, to say that something else is added into the deal. And it usually makes it much more attractive to buy. It makes the deal more attractive, and so that's why I put the 3 extra ebooks into the bargain, to make it more attractive, to make more people buy the PDF from the website. Now, you've probably heard, if you've spent any length of time with English-speaking people, you've probably heard them say thanks ever so much. Something that English people say very often, to say thanks a lot. Thanks ever so much for whatever it was, yeah? Thanks ever so much for the lovely present. Thanks ever so much for picking me up from the airport. Thanks ever so much. And this ever so or ever such, he's ever such a nice man, or it's ever such a good book, yeah? Something like that. It's how you say it's really good, or thanks very much. That's all that means, thanks ever so much. And so remember that it's ever so plus adjective. If it's just an adjective and not a noun, or adjective or determiner here, ever so much, that's a determiner, and determiners are a type of adjective, but here actually it's not a determiner, but that's for another class. But if you want an adjective afterwards with no noun, you use so, and if you want a noun, maybe with an adjective before it, yeah, it could have an adjective first. Ever such a nice man, yeah, but he is ever so nice. So a little so and such lesson there, and so do think about so and such. Anybody writing, please do a lesson on this, please do a lesson on that. Please look for it in the search bar, because usually I've already made a lesson on it. So just type in Mr. Skype lessons and then the lesson that you want, and you'll probably find it. Now, not just any. If you say he's not just any doctor, but he's a top surgeon, that means that he is not just an ordinary doctor. Not just any means not just ordinary, but something really special. Yeah, so he's not just any doctor, he's a top surgeon. No wonder is exact, and so just think of no wonder and no surprise as the same. So you might say his wife has been bullying him for ages, she picks on him, it's no wonder that he left her, something like that. As it is means already, and so if you say, you often see this at the end of the sentence again, so you might say, I've already done 450 lessons as it is. Yeah, I don't need to do any more. So somebody asking about, have I done a lesson on commas? I've done many lessons on commas, and yeah, perhaps I've done 30 lessons as it is. I could say that. I've done 30 lessons on commas as it is. And if you just type commas, Mr. Skype lessons in the search bar, you'll see some of those lessons on commas. Many of them, all of them perhaps. Now, if somebody is streets ahead of the other students, that means they're much higher level than the other students. And you could say he is head and shoulders above the other students, and it would mean exactly the same thing. They're far more advanced students. Now, maybe it's because some of the other students don't do a stroke of work. Maybe it's because they don't work hard. And you should remember this, a stroke of work, also with a stroke of luck. Because if you say, what a stroke of luck, it means how lucky, a stroke of luck. Yeah, a stroke. But if somebody doesn't do a stroke of work, they don't do any work. They're really lazy. Now, if two people get on like a house on fire, this means they get on really well. They have a great relationship. So remember that get on with somebody is a phrasal verb. And yes, it's certainly in the book that you can buy. Get on with somebody means to have a good relationship with somebody. And to get on with somebody like a house on fire, or get on like a house on fire, it just means you have a great relationship. You find it very easy to get on with that person. Now, if somebody is lost for words, they don't know what to say. They're speechless. Another expression would be speechless. I was speechless. I was dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded. I was speechless. I was lost for words. I didn't know what to say when he told me that. Yeah, it could be a variety of different reasons. But if you're lost for words, you don't know what to say. If you say that all hell broke loose, this means that havoc broke out. Yeah, havoc. It was total chaos, and this happened. Could be for any reason again, but all hell broke loose. I mean, when a conflict starts, all hell breaks loose. But maybe there's a fight in Parliament, and you might say one of the politicians said something, and all hell broke loose. There were things were being thrown. There were punches being thrown. That kind of thing. Now, if you avoid somebody like the plague, you stay away from that person. I think you might think about this like with that all of the scare stories at the moment about coronavirus and that kind of thing. You can understand what this phrase means. It means that you're avoiding them because you don't want to catch the plague. Couldn't believe my eyes or couldn't believe my ears. Yeah, you saw something or you heard something that was unbelievable. Yeah, really straightforward, this one. I couldn't believe my ears when he told me that, or I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that. Now, if the public are up in arms about the coronavirus, it means they're panicking about it. And if you're up in arms about something, you're really upset about something. Yeah, if the public are up in arms about the fact that the government have raised taxes, that means they don't like it. They're really upset about it. But you can be up in arms about all sorts of things, and it really means that you are upset about something, or you're panicking about something, or you're not happy about something. And you could say about something or over something. You do sometimes see they are up in arms over the outbreak of or the epidemic or something like that. They're upset about it, they're panicking about it, and they want the government to do more about it. Yeah, so up in arms is when you are really angry or annoyed or upset about something, and it's very often used for the public. Okay, if you pull out all the stops to do something, this means you go to great lengths to do something. You go out of your way to do something. We've had quite a few expressions meaning to make a real effort to do something. And it's go to great lengths, make an effort, go out of your way to do something. Okay, so pull out all the stops to get something done. And if you would give your right arm to do something, this means you're willing to sacrifice anything. You're willing to do anything, to make any sacrifice to get this thing done. And if you come down on somebody like a ton of bricks, this means that you're ready to punish somebody for doing something wrong, and you're ready to punish them severely. It's not going to be a lenient punishment, it's going to be a harsh punishment, a severe punishment. You're going to come down on that person like a ton of bricks. And I want you to think about crack down on something, come down on something, clamp down on something, because these three phrasal verbs, which are all in the book, of course, they all mean to when an authority or a parent or somebody in charge becomes stricter and starts punishing people for doing a specific thing. Okay, comments, and so I can't reply to all comments, but thanks everybody for watching, and I hope to see you all soon.